Mr. President, let's move into something related but slightly different. It has to do with advocacy. When we're talking about UN resolutions, the legality of Ambazonia, the historicity of our movement, it has to do with advocacy. And we cannot at this time talk of advocacy without looking at the Kansas City 3, which is what I want us to focus on. Now, in terms of advocacy, particularly relating to the Kansas City 3 court case, you have argued a couple of times that Ambazonia deserves the same treatment as Palestine, as Ukraine. But however, or how many times you would say that, it doesn't really seem to be gaining sufficient traction because the legality of Ambazonia perhaps is put to question by maybe the judge or certain people who share the same Fibonacci sentiments. What do you think, and what more of an explanation do you have to give to Ambazonians that are hoping that somehow, your rhetoric and government policy or approach towards this case can yield some fruits?
When a matter is before the court and we are making effort to shine the light to so that we can attain the justice that we deserve, you cannot measure the impact of our effort through social media, or you want somebody to come out there and make a statement and say, oh, the person has made another statement, so something is working. The only way you know the impact of your efforts when you are pushing a legal matter is when the matter is called in court. When the judge has to hear the case. And that is where we will know whether what we are doing has any impact or not. The one thing I want to tell you is that this year, in the months ahead, the matter shall be heard. This is not, you can accuse somebody and produce whatever you call your evidence. You can convince a jury. You can even get an indictment, but that is not a judgment by the court. That just leads us to the justice of the matter, which is finally decided by the court system. And the court system also has an appeal court. It also has a Supreme Court. So it makes sure that even if a judge decides to be corrupt, he will not be the only judge in the land that can look into the matter. So we only know the effort of what we are doing or what we have done when the matter eventually comes to court. And now I can tell you it is going to be in court very soon. And that's when we can tell what we have done. The thing that this is not a good thing for our comrades.
Yeah.
In every bad thing that is happening, there is a good side. This matter is going to give us the highest form of visibility we have ever had within the United States government. By putting our matter by contrasting our matter with other existing current issues, it has elevated our matter to a certain level. Before Ukraine was attacked in 2022,
Yeah.
before Israel was attacked by Hamas, I think last year or so, our matter was not to be discussed at a certain level. Was not the weight of the matter was not seen at a certain level. Now all these things have happened, and indeed, our comrades were arrested before the world changed. I want to tell you that now the arguments have changed. Those who could not see it before, I think they will see it better now. because now we have something to compare. When they were arrested, we had nothing to compare. Even the justices had nothing to compare. Of course, I think Ukraine was already somehow in the middle of it. That's when, after they were taken, because they were taken in November, Ukraine was attacked was I think February or so, or is it February or March? February, yes. So they started, but for now, as we look into the justice of the matter, these issues have been have so much shone the spotlight on our matter, because we have scholars, influential individuals who have compared, done a comparison on how the international community has treated this conflict in Europe, the other one in Asia, versus the number one conflict in Africa that is ongoing, which has to do with the international community itself as the foundation, and which has annexation. There is the number one conflict that has to do with annexation. That comparison has been made, thanks to what has happened. So I want to say that the justice of the matter will has better chances than when we started, and more voices have added than when we started. So let us see. We can only
Yeah.
prove that in the court and not on media.
Mr. President, that's very good because even the Justice Department publishes everything that happens about it. And I must agree with you that we now have much more support than when it started. We've now been spotlighted even in places we never expected that would have cost us a lot of money to get to those places.